Hello friends and family, and welcome back to my kitchen. It's almost Easter, so today we're going to prepare a delicious carrot cake. My family absolutely loves it. So today I'm going to share the recipe with you, and I know your family is going to love it just as much as mine does. Here we have all the ingredients ready to go. I'm going to go over them as I use them, but I'm also going to provide a full listing of all the ingredients we're using in the description of this video. With that said, let's get started by mixing the wet ingredients. In a medium bowl, we're going to mix the wet ingredients. We're going to start out by adding 4 large eggs, 1 1/3 cups of melted coconut oil or vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and we're also going to add 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of regular sugar. Using a whisk or a hand mixer, mix until everything is well incorporated and the sugar is completely dissolved. Set it aside while we mix the dry ingredients in a separate bowl. Add 2 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder and baking soda, 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and cloves. Using a spatula, mix all these ingredients until everything is well incorporated. Then we're going to mix the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients. Using your spatula, scrape the side of the bowl to ensure that nothing gets left behind. Then mix those ingredients together. I got the inspiration for this recipe one time we went to visit Legoland. At one of the restaurants they served carrot cake, and I just had to try it because I love carrot cake. It was the most delicious carrot cake I have ever had. After a few failed attempts of copying the recipe, I think I finally have it right. So if you love carrot cake like I do, I know you're absolutely gonna love it. Once we have all these ingredients well incorporated and we no longer see white specks of flour, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. Add 1 cup of unsweetened applesauce. Mix it in, then add 2 cups of finely grated carrots, 1 cup of raisins, and 1 cup of chopped walnuts or pecans. I'm using 2 cups of chopped walnuts, but we're only going to add 1 cup of the walnuts to the batter. The remainder we're going to set aside for garnishing the cake at the end. Mix in those ingredients and then we're going to add the final ingredient. 1 1/2 cups of drained pineapple bits. Once we're done mixing the final ingredient, we're going to set this aside and we're going to prepare the pans. We're going to use 2 8x4 pans. You can also use an 11x15x2 cake pan, but I'm going to make the attempt of making a layered cake. I can bake the cake, but I'm not great at decorating, so we'll see how this goes. We're going to need to line the bottom of the pan with parchment paper. This is the way that I lined the bottom. I'm going to attempt to cut it in a semi-perfect circle. Fold it in half, then half again, and then into a half triangle like this. Place the tip of the triangle in the middle of the pan or as close to the middle as possible. Then using your kitchen scissors, trim off the parchment paper as close as you can to the edge of the pan. If it's too big, you can trim off the edges to fit it to the bottom of the pan. Mine is not in a perfect circle, but I'm just going to leave it as is, because once you butter the pan, you can adjust it around the edges. And you're going to see that even if it's not in a perfect circle, it will come out just fine. To prepare the pans, you can use cooking spray or you can use regular butter. I use a small piece of a clean paper towel to butter the bottom of the pan. Once both of the pans are prepared, we're going to divide the batter as equally as we can between both of the pans. Your oven should be preheated at 350 degrees. Bake for 40 to 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, we're going to remove it from the oven and we're going to set it aside to cool down for about 30 minutes. To ensure that the cake is done, insert a toothpick right in the middle of the cake. If there's no batter on the toothpick, that means your cake is completely done. While we wait for the cake to cool down, we're going to prepare the frosting. And for that, we're going to need 2 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese at room temperature, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/2 cup of room temperature butter, and if you're using unsalted butter, add a pinch of salt. Using your hand mixer, mix until it's nice and creamy. Then using a spatula, we're going to mix 2 1/2 to 3 cups of confectioner's sugar. You don't want to use the mixer for this, otherwise you're going to have a big mess on your hands. Mix until the sugar is completely incorporated and it looks like this. Now that the pans are cool enough to handle, we're going to remove the cake. We're going to set it aside for another 30 minutes or until the cake has completely cooled down. Once the cake is completely cool, begin to decorate your cake. I can bake the cake, but I'm not a great decorator, so I'm going to do my best. After frosting the cake, I garnished with the remainder of the walnuts. I also had a little bit of the frosting left over, so I used a little bit of orange and green food coloring to make a little carrot on top. It's not the perfect carrot, but you can tell it's a carrot. And now for my favorite part, the taste test. Let's cut this cake and see what it looks like on the inside. I'm dying to try it because I haven't had carrot cake in so long. Keep in mind that it's not what's on the outside, but what's in the inside that counts. I can't remember the last time I had carrot cake, so I am dying to try it. Let's see what it tastes like. It's nutty with just the right amount of sweetness. So much better than store-bought, and it's so easy to make. Yes, it does take a few hours to prepare, but it's so worth it. So delicious. I hope you give this recipe a try, and if you do, let me know how you like it in the comments.